Namaste ji, namaste. Hope you're doing well. So today let us discuss the Criminal Procedure Identification Bill 2022. Remember, it's just a bill at the time when I'm shooting this lecture. This lecture will cover out each and every MCQ that the examiner of, let us say, UPSC, Judiciary, CLAT, LLM, AILT PG, AILT for LLB, DULB, DULLM, etc. can ever ask you from this topic. So कृपया करके अपने notes बना लीजिए. It will be highly beneficial. Now, anytime that such a bill is passed, or a bill generally is passed, statement of objects and reasons given, and herein lies the core crux of why the government is trying to pass this particular legislation. Right. So the legislation ka naam is Criminal Procedure Identification Bill 2022. It's been introduced in the Lok Sabha. Discussions are right now going on. They will deliberate on it and then follow the procedure as prescribed in Part 5, that is the Union of the Constitution of India. Then uske andar 5 chapters and we are in chapter number 2, the Parliament Articles 107 to 111 relate to passing of a bill and how it becomes an act, and what is the role of president, the role of Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, and what is the special status that has been accorded to money bills and financial bills. Alright, now we go to why in the world are they trying to pass this legislation. Then we will go through the bill ka text and cover out pretty much each and every MCQ that the examiner can ever think of. Alright, so it provides for legal sanction for taking appropriate body measurement of persons. That is the pointer number 1. Why are we passing this bill, as in trying to make it an act? Because there was once upon a time one act known as the Identification of Prisoners Act 1920. Alright, so we already have a legislation in place that was enacted to authorize the taking of measurements and photographs of convicts and other persons. Now convict तो भाई judgment के बाद कोर्ट ने कह दिया कि इसी आदमी ने वो काम करा, thanks to that offense that he's been charged with being proved beyond reasonable doubt in a court of law, right? And other persons. That means conviction नहीं आई है, लेकिन अगर आप arrest कर लिए गए हैं तो शायद आपकी measurement वगैरह ले ली जाए. अच्छा, the term measurement used in this act is limited. Used in which act? Identification of Prisoners Act is limited to allow for taking off. Now this is MCQ number 1. What is, or what were the measurements that were allowed under the Identification of Prisoners Act 1921? That is finger impressions and footprint impressions. Alright, and of a limited category of convicted and non-convicted persons, and photographs on the order of a magistrate. So they want to do two things. Since technology has advanced, time has advanced, we are living in a highly technological era, तो यहाँ पे फिंगर इम्प्रेशन और फुटप्रिंट, वो कहता है फुटप्रिंट इम्प्रेशंस का मैं क्या करूँ आज की डेट में. आजकल तो गुड़गांव में किसी एमएनसी ऑफिस में घुसने में भी आइरिस स्कैन कराते हैं. किसी हाई एंड सोसाइटी में जाओ तो उसमें ऐसे लगता है कि दिस इज लाइक प्राइम मिनिस्टेरियल सॉर्ट ऑफ सिक्योरिटी. वो कहता है इसका आज की डेट में मैं क्या करूँ. टाइम हैज चेंज, सो देयरफॉर we need to change the law, and that is primarily this law. So this is pointer number 1, so that we want to increase the definition of measurement, and it's saying limited category, so we want to also increase the category of people whose measurements can be taken. Now first and foremost, the counter argument that is going to be coming, that is the right, it's the violation of right to privacy under 21 given where Puttaswamy Wali judgment, who dissented in that judgment, Justice Chandrachud. And then right against self-incrimination is given where Article 20 Clause 3, 20 Clause 1 is ex post facto laws, 20 Clause 2 is double jeopardy, 20 Clause 3 is right against self-incrimination, exceptions, generally thumb impressions, etc. Alright, now new measurement techniques being used in advanced countries are giving credible and reliable results, are recognized world over, so they basically want to upgrade technologically. Therefore it is essential to basically to get this act in. And then it is necessary to expand the ambit of persons, and there is necessary to expand the scope and ambit of the word measurement. All right, so this is basically, that is why we are going in. So this is 2. So this is primarily a UPSC ka MCQ. The criminal procedure, the Criminal Procedure Identification Bill, or the act, if it becomes an act, was enacted primarily to, the purposes were, it will give you 4 options, it will ask you 1 and 2 only, 2 and 3 only, 3 and 4 only. Can you see the MCQ being cooked? Alright, now it says defines the said bill inter alia. Inter alia means among other things seeks to define measurements to include finger impressions, palm print, footprint impressions, photographs, iris and retina scan. आजकल दुबई में भी जाओ तो वीजा के टाइम पे वहाँ पे जो वो कर रहे होते हैं, फिजिकल बायोलॉजिकल सैंपल्स एंड देयर एनालिसिस एक्सेट्रा, एंड which is the agency that will be responsible for storage of all of this, to empower the National Crime Records Bureau of India to collect, store and preserve the record of measurements. So which agency will collect all of the data and will monitor it or will have supervision of it? Under this bill, NCRB. ठीक है जी. And to empower a magistrate to direct any persons to give measurement, any person to give measurement, तो ये magistrate को फिर link out करेगा CRPC के साथ, right? And to empower police or prison officers to make measurement of any person who resists or refuses to give measurements. I'm sure this will be labeled as an offense under ये आपका offenses against public tranquility section 188, जिसके अंदर आपका मास्क कटता है, ये कहीं पे लेके जाएगा वहीं पे 188 के आसपास. ठीक है जी, देखते हैं अब जरा. ये तो हमने कर ली बात बिल का, बेसिकली हमने यहाँ पे काम कर लिया. अच्छा, अब दूसरे पे देख लेते हैं कि यहाँ पे क्या है. ठीक है जी, तो यहाँ पे कह रहा है मेजरमेंट. ये सबसे पहला एमसीक्यू है, इसको मार्कआउट कर लीजिए. अगर आपके पास ये टेक्स्ट है, आई थिंक दिस इज वेरी इजी थिंग टू फाइंड. जस्ट टाइप ऑन क्रिमिनल प्रोसीजर आइडेंटिफिकेशन बिल 2022 पीडीएफ या text of bill, you will find it. So measurement includes, this is an MCQ, mark it. First, finger impressions, palm print impressions, footprint impressions, photographs, iris and retina scans, जो मैंने आपको कहा था. And their analysis. Behavioral attributes include signature, handwriting or any of the other examination referred to in section 53 or 53A of CRPC. If you are a judiciary aspirant, pause this lecture right now, go open section 53 and 53A of CRPC and look up what is it saying. Alright. And if you are a judiciary aspirant also, or even for UPSC or for any law entrance, mark this. This is extremely crucial. This is extremely high probability. Okay, now we go to other relevant things from the bill. I am only teaching you the relevant bits. I am not going into the philosophy, the legal discussion, etc. यहाँ पे क्या कह रहा है? Provided that any person, अच्छा एक सेकंड, any person से ऊपर भी मैंने कुछ मार्क करा हुआ है. Let me say. तो अब ये पर्सन किसके पीछे है? सो एनी पर्सन हु हैज बीन ए फर्स्ट एंड फॉरमोस्ट कन्विक्टेड ऑफ एन ऑफेंस पनिशेबल अंडर एनी लॉ, then order to give security for his good behavior, that's normal thing to say. Arrested in connection with an offense punishable under any law for the time being in force or detained under any preventive detention law. कह रहा है किसी को भी पकड़ के measurement का मेरे को हकाना चाहिए. And shall, if so required, allows measurement to be taken by a police officer or prison officer in such manner as may be prescribed by the central government. That's not an MCQ. अब यहाँ पे एक और चीज कर रहे हैं. Provided that any person arrested for an offense committed under any law for the time being in force, except exception दे दी, exception पे मैं बाद में आता हूँ, may not be obliged to allow taking of his biological samples under the provisions of this section. अब ये जो आपका biological samples हर किसी के लिए हमें नहीं चाहिए, right? तो they, you are just may not be obliged. वो कह रहे हैं उसमें भी मर्जी उन्होंने अपने लिए, except in one case where your biological samples become compulsory, that is an offense committed against a woman or a child for any offense punishable with imprisonment for a period not less than 7 years. This is a judiciary level MCQ, won't be asked in any other exam. Okay. Then the NCRB shall, in the interest of prevention, detection, investigation, prosecution of any offense, collect the record of measurement from the state government. Basically, police से सारा data कौन लेके जाएगा? NCRB. Now that is an MCQ. It's not नीति आयोग. वो दूसरे ऑप्शन में दे रखा होगा. That's not the वहाँ पे CBI भी दे रखी होगी. वहाँ पे शायद NIA भी दे रखी होगी. आपने क्या मार्क करना है? NCRB. All right. So the purpose of a coach or a purpose of a teacher, especially for a competitive exam, is to induce you to think of what this person who's sitting on the other side of the desk can ask you, and then prepare accordingly. Because remember, we are going in for a fight. We're not going in, especially for an MCQ oriented exam, we have to note down all the details. For an essay oriented exam, well, we'll just draft out an essay from this. This is more than enough information. ठीक है जी. अच्छा जी, बाकी हमने कुछ करने की जरूरत नहीं. अब ये बहुत बड़ा MCQ जो इस साल के LLM एंट्रेंसेस में तो टपकेगा. The record of measurement shall be retained in digital or electronic form for a period of 75 years from the date of collection of such measurement. That reminds me, postmortem octors PMA under copyright is for lifetime of author plus 60 years. Used to be 50 years, amended in 1991. I think effect came in 1992. But ये 75 years you have to रटो. There is no option. अगर ये तब तक आपके एग्जाम तक एक्ट बन गया तो वो क्वेश्चन की लैंग्वेज. द एक्ट एम्स टू, अच्छा अगर ये एक्ट नहीं बनी बिल रही तो द बिल एम्स टू preserve the record of measurements. Which measurements? Measurement की definition हमने कर ली, and then it's under 75 years. Great, all important MCQ covered. अच्छा जी, अब ये और पर्सन पे लड़ाई चल रही है कि पर्सन कौन है, पर्सन की होपफुली यू हैव रिटन डाउन ऑल ऑफ द डिटेल्स. अच्छा, whether magistrate is satisfied, magistrate आ गया तो CRPC आ गई, it's as simple as that. For the purposes of any investigation or proceeding under CRPC or any other law for the time being in force, it is expedient to direct any person. Magistrate को लगता है कि भाई CRPC में मुझे या तो इन्वेस्टिगेशन करनी है, प्रोसीडिंग करनी है, तो मेरे को इनकी जी मेजरमेंट चाहिए. मेजरमेंट क्या, आयरिस स्कैन फलाना ढमकाना, वो जो हमने जो पहले काम करा था. एनी पर्सन टू गिव मेजरमेंट अंडर दिस एक्ट, द मैजिस्ट्रेट मे, it's not compulsory, may make an order to that effect. In that case, the person to whom the order relates shall allow, shall compulsory है, shall allow the measurement to be taken in conformity with such directions. मेरे हिसाब से अभी चलान लगा दिया है, लगा दिया. सेक्शन 186 ऑफ द IPC, मार्क्स नहीं लगाएं तो 188 में चलान कटेगा आपका अंडर IPC, 186 में यहाँ पे 186. नाउ जुडिशरी वाली जनता, pause the lecture, go to 186 IPC, mark it out and see what is it saying. It's as simple as that, and that's how you prepare for judiciary. Now, in particular and without prejudice to the generality of the foregoing provisions, such rules may provide. So rules, administrative law, LLM, UPSC law optional, such rules, delegated legislation. Now, if rules are mentioned, a memo of this delegation, a memo has to be mentioned which will be tabled within 30 days in basically in the Houses of Parliament. I'm sure that is also mentioned. Now, the Identification of Prisoners Act 19, the Identification of Prisoners Act 1920 is hereby repealed. The Criminal Procedure Identification Bill seeks to aim or aims to repeal which act? That is another MCQ. ठीक है जी. और ये 10 सेक्शन की आपकी एक्ट पूरी हो गई, काम खत्म हो गया. ये तो हम स्टेटमेंट ऑफ ऑब्जेक्शन रीजन कर ही चुके हैं. अब ये मेमो लगा देगा, मेमोरेंडम रिगार्डिंग डेलीगेटेड लेजिस्लेशन, बिकॉज रूल्स आ गए तो ऑब्वियसली यहाँ पे आपको एक मेमो तो देनी पड़ेगी. दैट इज classic way, you can say, the procedure that is included in delegated legislation. Yep, and that's about it. Introduced by Amit Shah, Minister of Home Affairs, also Minister of Cooperation. Another MCQ. And cooperative federalism कहाँ पे दे रखा है जी? Which part of the Constitution? Is it part 7? Is it part 11? Think about it. Look up whether part 7 exists in the Constitution or not. If you are preparing, anytime you're preparing for any higher level law examination, your polity, especially the Constitution of India, needs to be in a very top grade level. If let us say you're preparing for the Uttarakhand PCSJ, international law, couple it LLM के साथ. international law, you have to cover it out with constitution and polity always. तो यहाँ पे देख लीजिएगा कि part 7 है या schedule 7 है या part 11 है. relation between center and states is given where, and where is cooperative federalism given specifically under which articles. उसके ऊपर लिखा हुआ है cooperative federalism. ठीक है जी. तो ये कृपया करके आई थिंक लिखा हुआ है या किन्हीं और शब्दों में लिखा होगा, बट लिखा तो है उस पार्ट के अंदर. तो कृपया करके ये सब चेक करके अपनी तैयारी करते रहिएगा. This is pretty much all the relevant details for the purposes of an examination, not the purposes of I'm not presenting it as a news bite. This is for the purposes of examination. All right, wishing you all the best. Take care. Bye.